Welcome. Taking a sidestep from the usual type of content that I make on my channel, I thought this will be a more of a fun video where I talk about my recent travel experience on both business and first class while flying from Toronto to Bombay. So this video is part one of a two-part video series. So in this video, I'll be talking about my travel from Toronto to London Heathrow on Air Canada's signature business class on their Boeing 787 Dreamliner. I have traveled business class a couple of times before, but I did not have a YouTube channel at that point to document it or give my reviews on it. So I was like, hey, let me do it now. So this time I made sure I took footages throughout my journey. And yeah, this video is the culmination of that. And if you're wondering how I afford to travel fancy on business and first classes, even though I'm just an employee in a company, a rat in a rat race, or a hamster in a hamster wheel, you get my point. Let me know in the comments and I'll be sure to make a separate video on that topic. I know that's going to be a fun one as well. And yeah, without any further ado, let's get straight into it. So my journey began at Toronto's Pearson Airport Terminal 1, the terminal that Air Canada flies out of. That day the airport was pretty empty, so all check-in security was a smooth ride, and I was literally in from the entrance of the airport to the gates within like maybe 30 minutes, I would say. And I had a bunch of time to kill, so I headed straight to the business class lounge, which is Air Canada's Maple Leaf Lounge. I have been to the domestic Maple Leaf Lounge before and it was not that great. The international one was much better. Unfortunately, I actually forgot to take a footage of the lounge. It was a pretty big lounge. I've seen better lounges, even some non-business class lounges that were better than this business class lounge, but it was a pleasant experience. So I got some food. They had a pretty good and tasty selection of food because lounge food can be a hit or miss. So they had like a jerk chicken, jerk spice pasta, and some African rice dish. Everything was great. Quickly had that, had like a glass of wine and some coffee after that. All the while I was just working on my laptop, maybe thinking out some YouTube ideas and whatnot. The time just went by pretty fast and it was time for me just to head to the gates for boarding. And yeah, being on business class, I boarded in almost at the front of everyone else, so I was able to get on my flight pretty early on. So my seat for the day was 6A. So business class is a separate section from premium and economy on the aircraft, and I forgot to count how many rows were there, but it was not that big a cabin, so it was pretty secluded. And as you can see, the seat looks pretty wide, pretty comfy. Plenty storage space for all your belongings. You have a complete overhead bin for all your belongings. You don't have to share like you do when you're in economy, when you share with like two other people on one row. The standard Air Canada business class seat features a full lie flat functionality, so you can just sleep. As you can see, the seat being a lot wider than economy is not the widest, but it does the job when you want to sleep as well. Apart from lie flat, you can incline it how much ever you want. If you just want to slouch back into a comfortable position when you're taking some wine, watching your IFE. And as you can see, a wide amount of leg space. I can fully stretch my legs out without any issues. So that what also supports the lie flat thing. So even if you're a tall person, you can fit pretty easily into this space. The IFE was a large screen, like you'll have no issues seeing it or walking around with it. It's a fully touchscreen system, but it also had like a remote control in like a side cubby that you would open and pull it out and play around with it. But it's not too far, so you can literally just lean out a bit and just play around. Also, a great selection of movies, TV shows, and whatnot. So you'll be pretty occupied most of the flight if you do prefer watching movies throughout. So along with the seat, we were also given a water bottle and Aqua di Parma Amenity Kit, which contained things like socks, eye masks, hand creams, lip balms, dental kit, and like this black screen wiping cloth. Also, we were given noise cancelling headphones for our use cases. I personally thought they were slightly uncomfortable because they were like clasping too tightly on my ears, and after a certain point throughout the journey, my ears actually started hurting. But I was still able to put it on for a while to at least watch one movie before I took them off. Before takeoff, we were also given welcome drinks. It was either like sparkling water or sparkling wine. I chose to go ahead with sparkling wine because why not? Now, before we go any further, I also took a video of the takeoff, so let's roll that. after takeoff and once the seatbelt signs were switched off, I decided to head to the washroom to see how it is, or like a lavatory. I think that's what they call it on aircrafts. And yeah, as you can see, it is pretty decent size, definitely slightly larger than an economy lavatory, but not the biggest. I've seen bigger business class restrooms before. And the surprising thing was there was just this one lavatory to be shared across the entire business class section of the aircraft, which was kind of surprising. I would have expected at least two of them. The lighting seemed decent, so I decided to do like a quick physique check before I start getting bloated because of the flying, because that, yeah, I get super bloated when I'm flying. We were also handed out menus which featured a decently extensive list of items that we would be given to eat on the flight. So there was like a appetizer section, a main section, and a breakfast section, along with like a long list of drinks, cocktails, mocktails. The thing that I got to eat was actually not on the menu because I had decided to pre-order it. And I think that was a good decision because I did take a look at what other people are eating and didn't look as good as what I got. I'll definitely come around to it and show you the footage of it. So before the actual meal service began, the crew went around passing around warm nuts and offering a choice of drink for the passenger. I chose Merlot because I feel it pairs well with the nuts. And I started watching this movie called Emilia Perez because I've heard really good things about it. I'll give like a short review at the end of it. So while drinking my wine, I also decided to check out some of the seat features like the recline. I think it was the firmness and the massage feature as well. So just had like a quick test around before the appetizers came in. Shortly after, the crew came around and passed along the appetizer, which was a salmon rillettes, along with like a warm bread roll with a side salad with some dressing. Surprisingly, the appetizer tasted much better than it looked. Shortly after, the crew came in and gave the main course. Since I'd pre-ordered mine, I got mine before everyone else's who just ordered on what was on the in-flight menu. And like you can see, I got a butter chicken with rice, and that stuff was really good. I'm so happy I pre-ordered this and did not go with what was on the in-flight menu. After main course, the crew came around, topped up the wine glass, and also offered dessert. And I think there was just one choice of dessert, which was the lime pie. It was okay. I think I've had much better desserts before on flight, and this was pretty average. But overall, a pretty satisfying meal, I would say. And yeah, I continued watching Emilia Perez after my meal was finished and the crew took everything with them. For me, I think it was a bit of an underwhelming movie. I think I might not have understood it well enough or like perceived it well enough to enjoy it too much. So after the movie was completed, I decided it was time to sleep because it was at like 12 a.m. Toronto time. So yeah, so the beddings that was provided with the seat, I put them on, lay the seat flat, and as you can see from the footage, it does look pretty comfortable. So I decided to spend some time reading the book that I was currently reading, which is Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky, and highly recommend this book for those who have not read it. So yes, after reading for some time, I decided to sleep. I slept for around 3-ish hours, after which the flight attendant came and woke me up for breakfast. The reason being I had asked her to wake me up for breakfast, otherwise I would have just slept through it and would have just woken up for landing, which I did not want. For breakfast, it was a pretty standard menu for everyone. I think the vegetarians might have had a different option, but for everyone else, there was omelette with some chicken sausage and hash browns, paired with some croissants, a fruit plate, and a fruit yogurt. And I decided to add a coffee to it as well because I love my black coffee and I need it after waking up every day. Breakfast was really delicious. I really enjoyed it as well. And overall, I feel both meals are pretty satisfying. I've had pretty good business class meals before, and this one ranked pretty high up there. And yeah, overall, really satisfied with the experience and the food. Throughout this, I was watching the original Karate Kid movie because I don't know, I had not seen that before. So 7 hours just flew by like that, and it was finally time for landing. I'll put on some footage of when we were hovering over London right before landing. Yes, overall this was a really comfortable journey. I slept for like a good 3 to 3.5 hours. I really enjoyed the food. The IFE was great. The movies were really nice. Yeah, definitely will love flying Air Canada business class again. I've already flown them once before. This was actually my second time with Air Canada. And I would say the experience was pretty comparable on both the flights that I had. So this was part one of the two-part video series. I had my layover at London Heathrow for around 3 hours. I'll talk more about that in my part two. Do subscribe and like if you like these types of videos, and do let me know in the comments if you would like to see a video on how I afford to travel fancy. Let me tell you, once you decide to travel fancy and start doing it, you would hate going back to economy. I do travel economy most of the time, but I do take the occasional business and first class flights here and there, and I truly, genuinely enjoy the experience. So yes, stay tuned for episode 2 where I travel first class on Air India's ex-Etihad aircraft on the 777-300ER. And I would say that first class blew the business class out of the water. I'll talk more about that in the next video, so stay tuned.